Hi there, good morning everyone. It is Gloria Kremer from Oakville, Canada, and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So, welcome to my online card class. So what I do is, if this is your first time joining me, I host card classes online. All my videos are free. So you don't actually have to get a card kit in order to sort of follow along. You can just use whatever materials you have at home. However, if you do decide to get one of my card kits, sorry, if you're a regular, you also know that I have two dogs and sometimes they bark. Okay, so let's get started. This is a Valentine's card. It uses all Stampin' Up! Products, and however, I did use some retired dies for this card. This is a die from, I guess, last year or 2 years ago, and this one was a die that was from the Meant to Be bundle. So let's get started. I have a piece for this card. I have a piece of vellum. It's just the regular vellum, and it's cut to 4 by 5 1/4, so just slightly smaller than a regular A2 card base. And then the card base, I use just the basic white. So what we're going to do is we're going to do like a watercolor wash background. And I'm going to use Fleur de Flamingo. Fleur de Flamingo goes with the heart cutout that I have for this kit. And let's get some ink on our lid. Oh, we couldn't get any ink on the lid, so we're going to pull it off from the side. So I'm just going to take my water painter here, grab some ink. Let's put a little bit of water on there. You could also use re-inkers. And you don't really have to worry about how much to put on your card. So that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take my heat tool and I'm gonna dry it very quickly. This might be off camera because I'm not sure if my heating tool will reach. So let's give that a dry. Okay. So the heating tool will make, and the water combination will make your card curl a little bit. I just sort of flatten it out manually, or you can stick it between like a big book or something once you're finished. Okay, next we're going to do is we're going to attach our heart piece to our vellum, and this is how I attached it. So I take my Tombow glue and I put it on all the really big hearts first. So I put it on all the hearts that have like the solid hearts, I guess you can call it. And then I go along and I just put it on some of the edges of the other hearts. I don't do every single edge. You don't really need to do every single edge. You can if you want, but it's really not necessary. You're just giving yourself extra work. So I make sure that I have it on the hearts that are closest to the edge, and then I also make sure I have some coverage for the middle, and then that's about it. So I think that's pretty good. Let's put a little bit there and a little bit here. And of course my dogs are playing really close to where I am working, so you might hear them in the background. So we're gonna put this down. If you notice something sticking out, you can always add some extra glue just to get that part down. Okay. That's okay. So now we have this vellum on, and then we're gonna put that on top. And how I decide where I'm gonna put the glue is I really just put the glue on the big solid hearts, because I don't want the glue to sort of stick out and show through my vellum. So I basically just put the glue where the solid hearts are. And you don't really need anything more than that. Again, the border for this card is about 1/8 of an inch, so leave yourself 1/8 of an inch all around. And I just eyeball it, because I've made enough cards that I think I can pretty much eyeball it pretty well. Next, we are going to glue down our framed heart. And I find Tombow glue is the best glue for this type of die cut, because it has that fine tip on the end. So we're going to stick that down. Then for our heart here, we're going to pick a sentiment. I'm going to use one from Flowering Tulips. So this is Flowering Tulips, and I'm going to use this one, Just Thinking of You Today, because I want to be able to use it even if it's not Valentine's. So there's our stamp. We're going to put it onto an ink block, and then we're going to grab our Versamark ink, and I'm going to make sure I have my white. So here's my white embossing powder. So we have the white embossing powder out. If you have an embossing buddy, you can use the embossing buddy and just, this is one step that I usually skip or miss. But if you don't want little straight powder all over your heart, then use the embossing buddy before you stamp. So next we're going to use the our ink, and we're going to stamp our sentiment down. Again, you can use any sentiment you want, just make sure it fits the heart nicely. So we have our embossing powder on there, and again, we're going to take the heating tool and we're going to heat it. Okay, so once your embossing powder has melted, you can now add it to your card, and I'm gonna just put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this just to pop it up. If you want it straight, you can keep it straight. Then we have our little bag of hearts here and our butterfly. So the little butterfly embellishment is from the new mini catalog. These are brass butterfly elements, I think they call it. And I'm gonna take my pick. Whoops. I'm gonna take my pick here. And I think for this card it's gonna look great right there. So I'm gonna put my butterfly on. And then we have some extra hearts. Now because of where I put my butterfly, I will put the heart on the opposite corner there. Again, sometimes I find if you just put the dot of blue on first and then lay the heart on top, it's a little easier. And then our last step is to add our ribbon. And sometimes I do all the ribbons, tie all the bows, and sometimes I don't. So if you have a kit that doesn't have a ribbon on it, just this is how I tie the ribbon. I just fold it like I'm gonna just fold about an inch away, and then just wrap it around as if you were gonna tie a bow. And then pull your two loops nice and tight, and then adjust the size of your loops by pulling the tail pieces here until you have the size bow that you're happy with. And I think with this ribbon you could probably also color it with blends. Maybe we should have tried that, but I think white works really well. So I'm gonna leave it white. And I'm hoping these scissors are sharp enough to cut this ribbon. It might not be. It's not. Okay, let's try these ones. There we go. So there's our ribbon, and then we're just gonna, I think this one's a little big, so I'm gonna make it a little smaller just by pulling. So I'm gonna trim this ribbon down. So there we go, that's perfect. That's the perfect size. And then I'm just gonna use, I think I'm gonna use my snail here. And I'm just gonna roll it. I'm gonna grab some of this adhesive from my snail and just add it to the back of that. You can also use glue dots, it works just as well. I'm gonna put the ribbon right there. And our card is all done. So there you go. You can see it looks great with either of the sentiments, and you can use any sentiment you want, make it for any occasion, and enjoy this second snow day.
So happy Tuesday and have an awesome week.